Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this DeFi and yield farming basics video guide. This is Manny speaking. I'm the growth lead at Holdex. Yield farming, like any discipline, has its own language and set of concepts. The world of DeFi apps has been described as money Legos. This simply means that due to the permissionless and decentralized nature of Ethereum apps, DeFi users and developers can integrate any number of apps into their experience, workflows, or designs. This property is also called composability in systems theory. We can think of DeFi as a system of interconnected blockchain applications. Each application is a module or a block of the whole infrastructure. In order to do yield farming, we have to understand these blocks and how to use them in order to build an effective money-making strategy. Lending protocols like Aave and Compound are one of the most basic building blocks of DeFi. They work through smart contracts with a simple premise. Some users deposit crypto assets into the contracts to earn interest, and other users borrow them from the contracts at interest. The interest rates for both sides of the equation are determined programmatically by demand and supply. To borrow, users deposit collateral. There are no loan applications or credit checks. Users simply connect a Web3 wallet like MetaMask through an interface to participate in the credit market. These credit markets are at the heart of DeFi. Lenders can hodl while earning yield, and borrowers can execute arbitrage or margin trades on decentralized exchanges or DEXs with leverage. A borrower may also take advantage of sudden spikes of volume in a DEX to add liquidity opportunistically. As long as the expected trading fees cover the interest on his debt, the borrower will make money. In fact, DEXs where liquidity can be added or withdrawn quickly by anyone are another core money Lego of DeFi. Crypto assets need liquidity to thrive, and using an automated market maker or AMM DEX like Uniswap or Balancer, any user, big or small, can provide liquidity to any swap market in Ethereum. AMMs work with a simple formula that allows trading fees to be given proportionally to liquidity providers or LPs. This encourages LPs to cooperate to build a market with high volume and thus high fees, in contrast to how LPs compete with each other in centralized exchange markets. There are many strategies in DeFi that combine decentralized lending and swapping protocols. This is facilitated by special DeFi tokens. For example, an interest-bearing token provides a way to track and redeem a deposit plus accumulated interest in a lending protocol, whereas an LP token given by a DEX represents an LP's share of a given liquidity pool. Thus, you may deposit DAI in Compound and take the counterparty's CDAI token to a DEX and provide liquidity, earning both lending interest and trading fees on your DAI holdings. In fact, stablecoin DEX Curve does this for LPs of DAI and USDC in their Comp pool by integrating directly with Compound. We are now entering the realm of yield farming. This buzzword started in mid-2020 when Compound, which unlike the protocols back in the ICO days had no native token, announced Comp, a so-called governance token, for users to vote on protocol upgrades. A number of Comp would be distributed as rewards to both lenders and borrowers in the Compound credit markets. Sophisticated users started to farm Comp by strategically depositing collateral for incentivized assets and taking out loans in other incentivized assets, receiving Comp and dumping it for more incentivized assets to farm even more Comp. Earning Comp by supplying Compound with liquidity also became known as liquidity mining, like mining in Bitcoin, but with your capital instead of with hardware. Keep in mind that farmers dump Comp strategically, not en masse, as their time horizon is much longer than a pump and dump trader. Being vested in the stability of the protocol is important to yield farmers and believers in the protocol alike. Liquidity mining aligns their incentives. In fact, Comp's price has never fallen below its initial offering price. Rather than buying it, however, users contribute to the health of the protocol by providing liquidity, participating in its governance, and exerting their influence towards stabilizing the protocol. Active farmers have been known to contribute proposals, evangelize to other crypto users, and even review a protocol's security if they are technically minded. Protocols with solid fundamentals attract better farmers. Better farmers push for needed improvements and profitability. Profitability makes farming even more attractive, a virtuous cycle. Since COMP, other protocols have replicated scalable liquidity mining programs and launched governance tokens. The Balancer, Curve, and Uniswap DEXs have launched liquidity mining for BAL, CRV, and UNI respectively. Other popular programs have been mining SNX for the synthetics derivatives market and REN for cross-chain liquidity. The programs all vary in their time length and rate of issuance. A few programs are very front-loaded, which is a much riskier proposition. Take for example the program for Yearn Finance's YFI or Wi-Fi, for which only 30,000 tokens were minted. This caused a sense of scarcity, which saw the initial offering go from $30 to above $40,000 per Wi-Fi in less than 2 months. Such a radical distribution is more akin to the FOMO of an ICO than a liquidity mining program. Naturally, many retail investors bought the Wi-Fi token instead of farming it. After the initial incentives were fully distributed, the price has been highly volatile, and many retail investors have gotten wrecked. This is despite Yearn being a highly innovative project. By now, you guys should remember when we discussed yield farming as similar to value investing in part 1 of this series. If you want to make it as a yield farmer, you need a good enough time horizon to farm. You will be providing your capital as liquidity to the protocol and earning yield, usually in the form of a governance token plus liquidity provider fees, while being exposed to a variety of protocol risks. A wise farmer does his own research and tries to make the most out of stable farming by picking a project with solid fundamentals, compounding his gains, and assuming the underlying token will not go to the moon even if it could. A successful or CHAD farmer preserves and builds on his capital with yield-generating strategies, whereas buying heavily into the price action of the governance token would violate these core tenets. In part 3 of this video guide, we will elaborate on farming strategies, understanding risks, and calculating returns.